First of all, Sean Penn, welcome back to Ireland. It's good to have you back.
Thanks very much.
Tell us about you. You're here to support frontline defenders. You've met some of, the nominees are extraordinary, the winners are extraordinary. But why lend your name and your time to frontline defenders?
Well, I had met Dennis O'Brien in Haiti 4 years ago, and he's been such an extraordinary supporter of the work not only that our organization has done, but throughout Haiti. And through that relationship did I find what he had done throughout, in many regions of the world. And I could say that he's among those who's on a very high credibility list to me. And when he asked that I come on this, it wouldn't have been 2 seconds before I would have said yes. And then looking into it, I saw that it was an organization that is doing that kind of work. We all know, and especially working in difficult areas in the world, and places where people will face retributions by standing up for the human rights of others, that the change doesn't start with the big organizations. It starts with these individuals, and without organizations like Frontline Defenders supporting them and giving them voice and giving them stature, that they come under much greater threat.
I suppose that was very evident in one of the main winners, Nurzia, who did just talk about the fact that friends have been shot for doing the work that she does, and yet she continues to do it.
Yeah, that she's an extraordinary person, and her organization is an extraordinary one. In particular, I think because among the difficult places in the world to work, and particularly as women, is Pakistan. And I've traveled Pakistan, and in particular the region where she works, and it would not be safe for anyone, no matter what the class structure they were functioning in that country, as a woman to take on the positions that they have and to work on behalf of women and girls as they have. And so there's nothing as moving as courage, and nothing as courageous as that goes on in Pakistan.
You mentioned Haiti, and the work there continues. Tell us just about your organization. The numbers of people you're helping are staggering.
Well, we came in as a very small group of Americans, about 30 of us, to stay for 2 weeks and distribute medications and to deploy some doctors that had joined on with us. Mm-hmm. And then we found that we could be productive in staying. And as we stayed, we also found that we could Haitianize the organization. So now JPHRO is a group of approximately 300 permanent staff. And I think not more than about 15 are non-Haitian. Almost the entire organization is now been Haitianized and is Haitian-led in country. And we're seeing how well that functions, and it's become sort of what had been a small group of kind of neophyte aid workers led by the neophyte of all, me. I am now a very excited bystander in an extraordinarily productive organization. And again, as I said, one that among its original great supporters was Dennis O'Brien with Digicel in Haiti. So that all ties into why I'm here today.
And the president's, the title they have for you, Ambassador at Large, a fantastic title. And I suppose it's in appreciation of the fact that with your fame and with your profile, you bring huge attention to their needs.
Well, yes, I suppose that's what it is. I mean, I'm honored to do the job, but there are many ambassadors at large with and without that title that are doing the kind of work that I'm doing and trying to, while at once working with my organization, which is a nonprofit, also trying to encourage business investment from outside and bring jobs to Haiti, because Haiti, like many places where education is at a premium, you need jobs to educate people into or just educate them out of their country. So Haiti, which is a country of only 9 or 10 million people, is one of those places where this kind of aid can really show a tangible change in the country. In over the next 10 years, I think we're going to see it much more dramatically than we have ever in the past in Haiti, and perhaps can serve as a model for other places.
Where does your sense of social justice or your need to do this work, where does that come from? I mean, is that passed down? Is that something that you were taught, or is it something that you evolved with?
Well, I could say that it was passed down and that my father was active in many social causes, but I think, in fact, the truth, I often joke that I have a T-shirt that says, "Tell it to a humanitarian," and I have a lot of humanitarians who work for me or with me in Haiti. I find myself principally a facilitator, and when that facilitation seems productive, I get excited and stay with it. And in Haiti, there's something that's often talked about by people who visit Haiti, and it comes in the form of one line. There's something about Haiti and Haitians. And it's so infectious, and it's not that it's a place that's difficult to leave. It's a place that's impossible to leave. Once it gets in your blood, you're there.
Mm. It's also, though, I was ahead of speaking to you, I had a look at your Oscar speech from when you won for Milk, and what you said about equality and full marriage access. We're going to have a referendum in Ireland next year because we have civil partnership, but we don't have full marriage access for gay couples yet, and hopefully we will. But you spoke about people who deny equality and their grandchildren, what their grandchildren will view of them. You didn't have to do that. Why did you choose to use that platform in such a way?
I'd like to see humanity avoid shame in their legacies. I think that there's, any thinking person, no matter really what their personal belief system is, understands that for the world to function in peace and in freedom and to celebrate the human spirit, it is going towards that freedom. Mm-hmm. And those countries or cultures that don't move forward with that will do as many cultures do that remain static. The culture itself will die, and we don't want to see those cultures die. They're going to have to move with freedom, no matter what their religious beliefs are. Those are to be respected and protected for themselves, but others need to be able to make free choices everywhere.
Do you, with Hollywood, you make movies, you do a lot of other things as well. You're a double Oscar winner. That world, I don't know it, but I know what people say about it, about fame and the bubble and yes men and women telling you what you want to hear. Is that the way it is, and is that a world you stay away from to do this type of thing that we've spoken about?
I'll tell you the truth. I think it's the world that's occupied everywhere, that those that are, whether it's an employer in a real estate firm in the Midwest in the United States, and the bubble that's around him or her, whether it's, I think that these are you're talking about a kind of human weakness that's pervasive in all cultures of business, whether it be Hollywood or others. They often talk about how the drug culture, for example, in Hollywood. I've never gone anywhere where I didn't see a very similar drug culture. We look everywhere to try to make a darkened penny a shiny one, and you're going to have both in your pocket.
With your own children, and I know that their private life is their private life, so I don't want to intrude upon that, but do you try and pass on your passion for social justice and some of the things we're spoken about? Do you pass that on to them, or do you let them find their own way, or do you challenge them on this stuff?
Well, I find that the best children, as they grow into adults, are as they are, despite their parents. And more than I see that my children have acquired their own passion for social causes. Both of my children have worked in Haiti, and in the United States for things that they champion, again along the lines of just looking toward making better lives for people. But I would be very hesitant to ascribe credit to my
it's very modest
example.
If I can just talk about the movies, I've mentioned Milk, and the Oscars were on a week ago now, but do you watch them? Do you watch the Oscars, things like that? Do you love movies? Would you like watching a good movie? Just go to the theater.
I love to watch a good movie. I find myself not getting to the theater as often as I would like to in the last several years. But I also, and it's difficult for me to catch up with movies because I'm not that interested in seeing it on less than a big screen.
Okay.
I think that experience, which is one that's clearly getting diluted as time goes on with the new technologies, and all of that has its great upside, but for me, a movie should be a movie. And in fact, in many cases, the cinema of movies is changing and becoming a little too adaptable visually. A lot of the movies I see today, I think, don't have enough of what I'd call cinema in them, because it's lost a reverence in that quiet space we go to in the dark with strangers and watch that thing on the big screen.
So you like to go to the theater, get your popcorn and see it on the big screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, the proper way. The what are you working on, or what can you tell us? Have you got movies in the pipeline, or are you reading scripts, or what are you up to right now?
Yeah, I have a project that I'm going to be doing in Africa this next year, or expect to be doing. Um, saying more about it would probably force me to lose my interest in doing it. So I'll
Fair enough.
keep it to the vest.
I'll be in the theatre in a couple of years, and I'll realise what you were hinting at.
Okay.
You spent some time in Ireland before, a couple of occasions. You've filmed here, you've worked here. I read something really interesting that you said in an interview in 2010 about you detected the recession of the place, the lack of not lack of confidence. Don't want to ascribe that to you, but the fact that people were a little bit hit, a little bit knocked for six. Can you just tell me more about that? What it was you detected?
Well, just that I had spent a fair amount of time over the last 30 years coming back and forth to Ireland, significantly Dublin, but throughout the country. And, I had seen previously the life of the city more than one or two nights a week. And when I came back this last time, it was dark and quiet most of the time, and the pubs were empty, and and it really struck me. And this is my first time back since then, and I understand that things have improved significantly, and I'm looking forward to sharing in that improvement this evening on my one night in Dublin.
Yeah, I won't ask you where you're going, but I presume, is there a special spot? Is there?
I'm gonna follow my leaders on that one.
Right. Okay. The do people leave you be? I mean, around the place, or you've mentioned you've been around the country. I mean, do people, are they constantly coming up looking for photos or stories or wisecracks or?
There's a fair bit, but I will say of the Irish that they could give it more than any, and if anything, it's a clever rib here and there.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I just wanted to just to wrap up, I suppose, where we started and on the work of your organisation and other organisations. Some people are passive; they don't pay attention to it. They wonder, it's such a. You mentioned Africa, it's such a big problem. Why start? I know in Ireland we have missed our development goal, even though we still have a huge development budget. We've missed the Millennium Goal. What are your thoughts on the responsibility? Because we are very privileged. Where we're sitting, where you live, where I live, we're very lucky. So what is your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if I can, I'd take it to a broader version of it, in the sense that, I'm only intimately familiar with the sort of work you're talking about in the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. And so having looked back into some of the history of it, and now I'm talking not just about Ireland's place in it, the United States' place in it, but I think that there is a developing development set, that there is a greater focus on capacity building in the areas where these organizations function, and a clearer notion of how to leave behind sustaining boosts to programs, and to work with the grassroots organizations in those countries. So I'm seeing a very positive future in the implementation of aid and development work around the world. At the same time, because the economies of all the countries have been hit so hard, it's very, very difficult to fundraise around these things. So while I recognize where your question comes from, mm-hmm. It's not productive for me to engage in a culture of the kind of donor fatigue concern, so much as it is to say, well, if we're not getting the kind of funds we need, then it's our failure, that we need to do a better job of getting the legitimized, so that people understand that what their money is going to do is going to be productive, and it's going to go to what it is that their heartstrings had pulled it for in the first place.
Sean, just before, and it struck me that it's folly of me not to have asked you this, and people will get me if I don't ask you this. I mentioned just before we leave just the films, and I mentioned the two Oscar wins, but do you have a favourite role? Do you have a film you're most proud of, or a body of work you're most proud of?
I think that for me, movies are somewhat like the Italian driver in the Gumball Rally, who pulled off the rearview mirror and said, "What's behind me does not matter."
Right, it's all about the next one. It's all about the next stuff. Brenda Fricker, who's an Irish Oscar winner,
great one, yeah,
told us a couple of years ago that she keeps her Oscar statue under the kitchen sink. Do you know where yours are? Do you keep...
I know. I think yes, I know where they are.
They're at home, basically.
I know where they are.
Okay, fair enough. We'll leave it at that. I'm not going to get them. Don't worry. Sean, absolute pleasure to meet you, and thank you for being so kind with your time.
Great. Thanks very much.